Hey, what's up everybody? I'm Justin with AmericanMuscle.com, and today we're taking a closer look at and installing the Renegade Series LED taillights with the smoke lenses available for all 2010 through 2014 Mustangs. Now, the Renegade sequential LED lights that we have here today definitely going to appeal to the late S197 Mustang owners out there who really dig that 13 and 14 taillight design, but don't want to drop the $1,000 to $2,000 price point to get the factory Ford taillights on their car. So I really can't think of a more highly anticipated part than this, right? An affordable aftermarket 13 and 14 style light available for all 2010 through 2014 owners out there who want that same look for their ride, but don't want to drop the big money on the OE Ford tails, along with having to buy separate adapter panels to fill in the gaps on the earlier gen. Now instead, these are going to be a direct swap plug and play option at a fraction of the cost of those factory taillights, and they're also, as you can see, going to include those little panels to fill that little gap left in the bumper. Now on top of that, they're also going to look and perform exactly like the factory 13 and 14 taillights, and even have a little bit more of an aggressive look in this case thanks to that smoked light. Now on top of that, maybe you already have a 13 or 14 S197 and maybe you want to change up the look a little bit, go with that smoke lighting as opposed to those red options on the factory Fords, or maybe you're in a little fender bender, you cracked one up and you just want an affordable replacement. This is certainly going to be a good option for you as well, and they will replace your 13 and 14 taillights as well. And that's going to lead us right into our features. Again, the Renegades here will be packing that 100% LED operation throughout, including the 3 diffused LED rings or bars, as you can see here, guys. Those are going to act as your running lights and turn signals in conjunction with the LED blocks inside of those bars, which also handle your turn signal and braking duties. Now, the big thing to mention here, guys, is just like the factory taillights, the Renegades will still deliver that iconic sequential pattern for your turn signal, so you're certainly not losing that functionality. Now, finally, guys, the reverse lights are housed in the middle block here, and those are also going to feature bright white LEDs for really good visibility at night. Now, construction is going to be extremely similar to that of the factory Ford taillights, with one big exception. Now, where those factory tails do utilize a red lens or border, if you will, the Renegades here are going to feature a smoke lens, delivering, I would say, kind of that Euro style, but with a little bit more aggression. Now, it's a subtle change, but one that I think you should be aware of, and again, one that I think a lot of owners are actually going to prefer as opposed to the red OE style lenses. Now, outside of that, guys, you're looking at a very factory-like build here in every way. Polycarbonate lens, modern electronics, all loaded into the black ABS housing. Now, these options are both DOT and SAE approved. That's going to make them legal for use in all 50 states. And they're also backed by a 1-year limited warranty against any defect. Getting into pricing here, guys, you're going to find the Renegades land in that low to mid $500 price point, which certainly puts these in some of the premium category, if you will, with other options from Morimoto or even Raxium. But they're still going to be a fraction of the price of those OE Ford taillights. If you were to go to Ford, go to the parts selection, buy these brand new in the box, they're not going to be cheap, guys. So again, these are a nice affordable option to the factory Ford taillights, and certainly is something to consider when you're weighing your options. Switching gears, let's get into the install. You're looking at a very simple 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter here, guys. This is a true plug and play job. There's no cutting, there's no wiring, there's no permanent modification needed. Site's gonna call this one about an hour to knock out from start to finish. It's very generous considering just how easy this one will be. But for your 2010 through 2012 owners, there is a little bit more work involved getting your filler panels in place. But regardless, what do you say we head out to the shop? Let's check out our detailed walkthrough and tool breakdown.
The tools you'll need for this project are a trim removal tool, a ratchet, an 11mm socket, and some alcohol. Hi everyone, today we're installing a set of taillights on our Mustang, but before we get started with that, let's watch a short video on how to uninstall the stock taillights first.
All right, first up here, of course, pop your trunk. We have to get this trim liner off right around the trunk latch. Now, one thing to keep in mind is on both sides, there are push pin clips, one down here, one up top, and the same on the other side. You'll have to get those off. Ours is missing all 4. It is a used vehicle, so keep that in mind. Yours may be missing it as well. You just want to pop off all 4 of them with a panel removal tool. They just pry right out. From there, you can lift up and pull this guy forward. Now keep in mind your trunk may have the internal trunk light, in which case you want to disconnect that harness. Again, ours is a used vehicle, so it's pretty light, kind of pops right off. And we're just going to let that guy sit aside while we work on the back of the taillight. Okay, looking at the back of the taillight here, now that the trim's out of the way, you might have to pull back this trunk liner just a little bit. There are 3 11mm nuts holding this guy on, one right here, down low, and then up in the corner. The up in the corner one's a little tough to see. You want to grab your ratchet and an 11mm deep socket and get these off. You can usually break them loose and then get them off by hand. From there, you can pinch and disconnect the harness and begin to pull back on the taillights. All right, from the inside, you want to push out the rubber grommet from that hole, feed the wiring harness out, pull the taillight out, and set it aside.
All right, before we install our new light, we do have one little piece of trim here that goes on the bottom of this light here, like so. So it's held on by some 3M double-sided tape. So before we put that on, we're going to go ahead and wipe the bottom of this light with an alcohol pad just to make sure that there's nothing on there that would prevent the adhesive from sticking. So we're just going to clean this lower edge here under the light, let that dry for a second, and then we'll just peel off the red backing on this trim piece. And then when you line this up, you'll notice that there's just a little bit of a hook right here at the end. You want to line that up with this edge of the light here. And of course, make sure that this front edge lines up with the front edge of the light. We're going to line that up with the right edge and with the front edge and do the same thing all the way across. Make sure that it's lined up where you want it. And then go ahead and press on the tabs. Once you've got it in place, now we can go ahead and install our light. And repeat this process for the other light. Now we can go ahead and feed our taillight harness in through the hole in the trunk, and then press the grommet into place, making sure that it is secure. And then we go ahead and insert our light. Now we'll go ahead and secure our light using the original nuts. So we've got one right here on top. We've got one down lower, right here. And then the one back in the corner. Now we'll go ahead and tighten them down using our 11mm socket. Now we can go ahead and plug in our harness. Now you can repeat that process for the other side. Now we can go ahead and plug in our trunk light and reinstall our trim. Just pull our trim back into place. And go ahead and reinstall your push pins. And that wraps up our review and install of the Renegade Series LED taillights with the gloss black housing and smoke lens for the 2010-14 Mustang. Thanks for watching, and remember, for all things Mustang, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.